My dear people of Momo County, fellow Ambazonians, dear friends of a free Ambazonia, happy Father's Day 2020 to all the hardworking fathers, especially the survivors in Ambazonia. Let us remember our revolutionary heroes like the late Honorable L.M. Damukong of Batibo, Honorable Zacharias Abendong, who was assassinated by Ahijo, and His Royal Highness Von Fokum Richardson II of recent memory. Let me start by reminding ourselves once more that thousands of innocent Southern Cameroon's people have been murdered through poisoning or by guns purchased by our own tax money to French Cameroon. And some have been tortured to death in the torture chambers of French Cameroon. Let's remind ourselves that thousands more are being held in congested dungeons under the threat of COVID-19 killer virus across the towns and villages of French Cameroon as we struggle to actualize the restored independence of our beloved country, Ambazonia. I call on all of us to observe a minute of silence in the memory of all innocent mothers and children slaughtered, visionaries, revolutionaries, patriots, and foot soldiers who gave it all for a free Ambazonia. A minute of silence, please. May we continue in the footsteps of their sacrifice until Ambazonia is free indeed. Let me start by thanking Chairman Jackson Omekai of Momo County and the following elected LGA executives of the great county of Momo, namely Moghamo LGA George Fon, Menemo LGA Ephraim Fombo, Ngi LGA Sam Mbuta, Njikwa LGA Patrick Ngene, Widikum LGA Enko Marcos, as well as all members of government here present for your very warm reception you have accorded me here today. The following sons and daughters of Momo, members of my government here with me, deserve special mention and appreciation. My friend and untiring Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs, Professor Martin Ayum, Mr. Ambrose Etienne, who is Secretary of State for Home Affairs, Mr. John Egiawan, who is Secretary of State for Defense, Madame Irene Ngwa, Director of Resource Mobilization at the Presidency, Dr. Fidelis Atienjo, the Undersecretary of State for Health and Social Services, Madame Dorothy Ngwa, the Vice Chairperson of Ethics Committee, Dr. Winifred Lobati, Ranking Member of the Ambazonia Restoration Council, Dr. Matthew Atungon, Director of National Archives at the Presidency, Sebastian Mbariko, Director Number 2, State Protocol, and Dr. Matt Tezok, Director of Finance and Regulatory Compliance at the Presidency. These are 9 of my very dedicated, hardworking, and reliable patriots holding my hands up in battle as I pilot our revolution, our freedom boat to Boya. Please appreciate these pillars of yours in my government. Now you understand why I can correctly regard Momo County as the custodian of our revolution. My dear people of Momo County, fellow Ambazonians, this Sunday afternoon, standing 6,000 feet on the windy hills of Ngi, barely north of Jikwa and facing Bamenda to the east, flanked by Moghamo, Menemo, and Widikum, we can see the apex of Mount Fako in its full majestic splendor. From this vintage point, and with a clear sight of our capital city of Buea, I declare to all Ambazonians from Bakatsi to Nkambe and from Kupe Manenguba to Akwaya, from Boyo to Buea, that this is our beloved country. Make no mistake, this is our country, whose land area places it between Switzerland and Denmark in territorial hierarchy. My people of Momo, all traditional and religious authorities here present, I am so proud of those of you who have chosen to stand with the people of Ambazonia, with your people. Momo is the birthplace of some of the political bulldozers that have shaped our political landscape and revolution for almost a century now. Despite the fact that one of your prominent patriarchs from Momo is blamed by every historical account for torpedoing the earliest post-unification attempts by His Excellency Dr. John Foncha to fix the Franco-Ahidjo deception of Southern Cameroons of 1961, yet Momo has risen as a force to reckon with in defining and redefining the viable way forward in our struggle towards the righting of this monumental wrong once and for all. Talking about the struggle, Momo is more especially the home of His Excellency von Gojidinka, who for 37 years has been in the intellectual torchbearer of our Ambazonia resistance movement. His Royal Highness von Gojidinka will forever be remembered as a national hero for his monumental courage and vision in proclaiming the new social order 37 years ago. As a teenager, I read it in 1983 and hid it in the closet of my heart like sacred scripture. I braved all odds to copy it out and share it in my secondary school. That was the first writing in gold that attempted to establish truth and justice as the basis of any lasting peace between French Cameroon and Ambazonia. For challenging Biya in 1983 with the truth, von Dinka was sentenced by the nefarious Yaoundé military tribunal upon the instructions of the then baby dictator Paul Biya for daring to point out that French Cameroon's unilateral secession from the de facto union is the legal basis for Ambazonia to assert our independence and fight valiantly for the political soul of Ambazonia. Let us celebrate this father, a living legend from the great county of Momo. The last time I spoke with him, he sang a song of victory and told me, I quote, "Tears run down my eyes seeing Ambazonia become a reality while I am still alive. You must not fail our people," end of quote. 33 years down the road, another son of Momo, my brother spiritual and temporal, Honorable Wilfred Tassang, stood tall amidst notorious political vampires to declare in camera that Southern Cameroon is our God-given country and that we, the people, and not Etudi, are in control here. That same criminal tribunal sentenced Dikintasan Wilfred to life imprisonment without a crime. Cursed be anyone from Momo who will declare himself an ally of this murderous regime in French Cameroon that has done us nothing but try to annihilate us. Dear people of Momo, fellow Ambazonians, the failure of the United Nations experiment to federate the freedom-cultured Southern Cameroon's people with the politically conquered slaves of French Cameroon, whose sovereignty had been surreptitiously confiscated by France in the infamous Treaty of December 26, 1959, at the dawn of their so-called independence, should have come as a no surprise to political pundits. The people of Southern Cameroon were coerced by the community of nations unwittingly to accede to independence by joining a supposed independent nation called French Cameroon in a federation of two equal states. However, unknown to the 994th United Nation General Assembly and the free and sovereign people of Southern Cameroon, we were lured into a marriage with a non-independent party, La République du Cameroon, which had no sovereign power to enter into any treaty with us that will not be subject to a French veto. The world body's failure to supervise the process and failure to take into consideration the existence of the fraudulent treaty for the continuation of colonialism already in force between France and authorities of French Cameroon since 1959, in which French Cameroon permanently ceded her sovereignty to Imperial France, simply ceded Southern Cameroons to the French colonial masters for the continuation of colonization. How could the free people of Southern Cameroon have endured a so-called federation of two states with equal status with an unequal party? Before you call those of us who stand unapologetically for the unconditional independence of Southern Cameroon's extremists, tell me how else can we do justice to the free party, Southern Cameroons, in this fraudulent union with a slave party and fix this misnomer short of a complete separation? How? Those advocating for a one Cameroon should start by answering that question. Fellow Ambazonians, the illegal occupation and forceful annexation of Ambazonia by our supposed co-equal, not terrorism, is and will be the greatest threat to peace and security in the Gulf of Guinea. Our country, Ambazonia, has endured servitude under development, recolonization, ruthless assimilation, exploitation, stealing of our resources, rampant murders, and attrition of all kinds for 59 long years, despite our supposed equality with French Cameroon. Be it known that killing our generation will not guarantee lasting peace. Targeted elimination of leaders at home and in the diaspora will not guarantee lasting peace in the Gulf of Guinea. Only a peaceful separation shall disarm our resistance and bury the hatchet. Fellow Ambazonians, we have come to join our brave brothers and sisters, sons and daughters in the battlefields of Momo, who, though unprepared, drafted themselves into this war of independence 3 to 4 years ago. We, on the contrary, some of us have been waiting. It has taken us 4 years to prepare to get drafted today into the Ambazonia Restoration Army of Donors for the total liberation of Southern Cameroons. We are here, therefore, to draft the great people of Momo County. I, therefore, call on all of you, sons and daughters of Momo, especially in the diaspora, to more than ever before send a hot message to the ghost of Mr. Biya and his genocidal machine that we will take this war to its logical end, and that end point must be Buea. We must liberate our country, starting from Momo. I call on you, friends of Momo, and your dynamic diaspora population that tests for a free homeland to return to make an exemplary sacrifice today. Let our wallets do the talking so that the graves of Widikum, Moghamo, Menemo, Njikwa, Ngi, and the youth of Momo, who have staked every aspect of their livelihood for us to liberate our homeland, they will know our unflinching resolve today. Let us encourage our generals, commanders, and warriors fighting and resisting the occupier in Momo to ward off all attacks by the enemy on our innocent people and property. Let us send an even stronger message to the acting president of French Cameroon, also known as the French ambassador to Yaoundé, Christophe Guillou, the new genocide commander-in-chief, that they can burn all the palaces and villages in Momo, slaughter our senior citizens, pregnant women and babies, abduct and imprison our old and the sick, target and kill our successful southern Cameroon's people, but that will not deter our resolve to secure a free Ambazonia for generations to come. Momo, take your position defined by destiny and follow the sacrificial path of your heroes past and present unreservedly through this draft. Let us all join the Amber War draft for Momo and be numbered. By participating in this draft and encouraging our relatives and friends to do so, we will be sending a clear message also to all traitors and their master that they will be defeated, that good will triumph over evil, that no matter how hard they try, we will take back our homeland. We will take back our country. My dear people of Momo, fellow Ambazonians, the challenges along our path to freedom have been many. We have mustered the will, determination, and constantly improved our strategies to challenge the enemy. What may stop us is not loss of precious lives, not the lack of a valiant fighting force, not the might of the enemy, and not even the treacherous and treasonous activities of the enemies within us. Those who are trying and laboring to stop the interim government. No, none of them can stop us. It is only our will to be free that will ultimately determine the end. Sons and daughters of southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, you who have decided to play the roles of quislings as you feed off the crumbs from your cruel colonial masters, you house slaves, I have a message for you. Our history has taught us that anytime we have stood up to fight for freedom, traitors like you always show up, sponsored by blood money from the slave masters, to destroy our legitimate efforts from within and help the evil regime to stay their knee on our neck. I'm talking of so-called pro-independence leaders who are now busy positioning for political deals with the enemy. Colonial ministers, colonial parliamentarians, so-called CPDM elite, some traditional and religious leaders who are aiding the genocidal regime in Yaoundé to continue with the senseless murder of our people in the name of restoring peace and order. Don't you know that when they say peace and order must reign in Ambazonia without justice, it is their code name for massacre without end? You are traitors excelsior, and the blood of our people you help to spill daily will cry out for justice from the soil. Soon, in a free Ambazonia. According to the People's Revolutionary Law, you are guilty by association and have made it clear that you will surely pay for your heinous crimes sooner or later. Justice is a two-edged sword. It cuts inward, outward, and forward. Great sons and daughters of Amberland, we will make Ambazonia a country where there will be freedom according to the law, where there will be justice, where there will be equitable distribution of resources, where there will be opportunities for all. After 60 years, Momo should have been thriving in all social and economic sectors, such as road infrastructure, cultural rehabilitation, agricultural innovation, tourism, and all other developmental indices. I enjoin all of you to remain steady and confident as we continue this journey. Let us not be distracted by those who drop the ball before we get to our final goal. Let us be focused on those who are ready to go through this journey of our lifetime. Let us keep the precious ticket, our Ambazonia War Draft ticket, as evidence that we were all of us on board when we labored to freedom. This is the contract we have signed with destiny in our generation, and it must be fulfilled. Let the draft begin. Viva the great warriors of Momo. Viva the great people of Momo County. And God bless the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Thank you.